Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second part of SAT Math, in which we are going to solve from question 11 to question 20 of the first SAT paper. If you haven't watched the previous session on SAT Math questions, please refer to part 1 of this series, in which we have solved question 1 to 10. So, without further ado, let's get started with the question. So first of all, as always, give it a minute try each questions, and then we'll come back with the solution. Okay, so I hope you guys have tried question 11 and question 12. So let's get into the solution. So here we have, um, so we are given two equations, right? Equation for B and equation for C. And on this equation, we have a variable x, right? So just looking at the question, from the statement we can expect what is b and c, and we can expect what is x, right? And we will see what is asked in the question. So these three we are expecting from the question. Okay, so let's read. So in the question above, b and c represent the price per pound in dollars of beef and chicken. So b basically is beef and c is chicken, right? And basically the price per pound of these, right, respectively x weeks after July 1. So x is basically weeks after July 1. So we got all the information that we were looking for. What was the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price per pound of chicken? So we are asked to find the price per pound of beef when it was equal to the price per pound of chicken. So basically this B and C, the price per pound of beef is equal to the price per pound of chicken. So we'll equate them. So 2.35 plus 0.25x is equal to 1.75 plus 0.4x, right? So what we always do when we get an equation like this, we'll take all the like terms on one side and the unlike terms on the other side, right? So here the like terms are x, so we'll move all the x on one side. So here we get 0.4x minus 0.25x, right? And in here we have 2.35 minus 1.75. So 1.75 goes on this side. So 2.35 minus 1.75, right? So here we get 0.15x, and here 0.75 and 0.25 is 2. So 0.25 and 0.35 is 0.6, right? So 0.15x equal to zero point 0.6, or we can write x is equal to 4, right? So now we'll put x equal to 4 in B, because we are asked the price per pound of beef. So we have 2.35 plus 0.25 times 4. So 0.25 times 4 is 1. So 2.35 plus 1 is 3.35. So D is the correct answer. Clear? If you have any questions, please put it in the comment section and we'll get back to your comments as well. Okay, so now let's get on to question number 12. So question number 12 is actually from straight lines. So again, a very simple concept. So let's go on to the question. So a line in the xy plane passes through the origin and has a slope of 1 over 7. Which of the following lies on the line? So let's draw the four quadrants, and this is just for the explanation. But if a line passes through the origin, then the intercept is 0, right? So the equation of a line y equals mx plus c, in which c is the y-intercept, right? So if the line is passing through the origin, then the y-intercept is basically 0. So y equals to mx, and m is the slope. So the slope is given as 1 over 7. So we can write it as 1 over 7 of x. Now, which of the following points lie in the line? So whatever the value of y will be, 1/7 of that of x. So let's look at a. So a is 0, which is x is 0, y is not 0. So a is gone. So here a is 1. In option B, a or x is 1. So if I put x as 1, y should be 1 over 7 and not 7, right? So b is also gone. Again, if I put x equals 7, then y should be equal to 1. So C is also not correct. And by the process of elimination, D should be the right answer. So we'll select D. But here, since we're practicing, we're just going to put x as 14. So if I put x as 14, so 14 over 7, which should be the value of y, which is 2. And here, y is actually 2, right? So this type of problem, again, very simple problem. So it should be done in less than 30 seconds, okay? So now we have done question 11 and 12. So let's move on to question 13 and 14, right? So let's move on to question 13 and 14. So 13 and 14 are on the screen. Give this a minute try, and then we will be back with the solution, okay? Okay, so I hope you guys have given it a try. So now let's look at the solution of question 13. So here it's given that x is greater than 3, which of the following is equivalent. So we have 1 over x plus 1 over x plus 2 plus 1 over x plus 3, right? So there are two ways to solve this question. Either you can take a value of x and substitute the value and see which of the option matches, or we can simplify it. So first let's simplify it and see how long it takes, right? So we have 1 over, and here we'll take a common denominator, which is x plus 2 times x plus 3, right? So that is the common denominator. So here for x plus 2, we have to multiply x plus 3, and for x plus 3, we have to multiply x plus 2, right? So that's that, and then we will have the reciprocal of this, so which is basically this will go in the top. So we have x plus 2 times x plus 3, and in the denominator we have 2x plus 5. So in the denominator we have 2x plus 5. In the numerator we'll have a quadratic equation with which will have x power 2. The reason I'm not multiplying it is we don't need to multiply it basically, because we will also use the options as a way to find the answer, right? So let's look at option A. So option A, we have in the numerator we have 2x plus 5. In the denominator we have a quadratic equation, which is the opposite of what we are looking for. So we are going to eliminate it. In option B, we have a quadratic equation in the numerator. In the denominator, we have 2x plus 5. So this can be a probable option. Okay. So option C, we just have 2x plus 5 in the numerator. So that is not what we are looking for. And option D, we have a quadratic equation in the numerator. In the denominator, we don't have anything, right? So that's also not what we are looking for. So D should be the correct answer. So the reason I didn't multiply is multiplication will take maybe a few seconds, right? But if we can avoid doing that, we can save time. So that's what we'll try to do in our SAT exam. We'll try to reduce the number of steps as much as possible. So here multiplying may take 10-15 seconds, but if from the options we can somehow not multiply and save that time, we'll always try to do that. Okay, so here because none of the other options had a quadratic equation in the numerator, then we can simply select B, because that's the only one that has a quadratic equation in the numerator. Okay, so that has to be clear why we are not multiplying, because multiplication will just take a few seconds, but still every second is important in SAT, right? Because we have 20 questions, we just have 25 minutes. So just a little bit over 1 minute we are having for each questions. So whichever way we can save time, we will in the exam. Okay. So now let's move on to question 14. So in question 14, we are given 3x minus y is equals to 12. Okay, and then we are asked to find 8 to the power x over 2 to the power y. Okay, so first of all, it's hard to comprehend, right? Why are we given this equation, and why are we asked to find something, right? So first of all, what we our objective should be is to use this equation somehow, and since it is given, for sure we will use this equation. Okay, so let's try to simplify this 8 to the power x over 2 to the power y. So how we can simplify? So let's look at a few exponent thing, right? So if we have, let's say, x to the power of a over x to the power of b, so we can write it as x to the power of a minus b. Okay, so this is important. So if we have this x to the power a over x to the power b, we can write it as x to the power a minus b. So first of all, to get it in this form, we have to convert both the numerator and denominator in the same term, right? So 8 we can write it as 2 to the power 3, right? So first we change that. So in case of 8, we'll write 2 to the power 3 to the power of x, and we'll use this formula. So if we have x to the power a to the power of b, then we multiply, right? So that would be x to the power of ab. So that is another formula that is very important in exponential. So we'll use this formula. So 2 to the power 3 to the power x is 2 to the power 3x. Over we have 2 to the power y. So again we can simplify that as 2 to the power of 3x minus y, that is x to the power a over x to the power b. So x to the power of a minus b. So now 3x minus y. Now we understand why 3x minus y value is given. So we'll substitute 3x minus y as 12. So that is 2 to the power of 12, and A is the correct answer. Okay. So whenever we are given questions like this, we have to think, well, how can we simplify the question? So first of all, since we know these formulas in exponential, we'll try to, this looks similar to this formula, right? Only thing is we have 2 here and we have 8 here. So we have to either convert 8 to 2 or 2 to 8. So it's easy to convert uh, 8 to 2, right? Because it's 2 to the power of 3. Very simple. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So we'll convert in that way. Okay, and we'll simplify and we'll use this value and we'll solve the question. So maximum 30 seconds, right, to solve this question. But what is more important is to see how we are solving, what is the approach that we are taking to solve the question. Okay, so that's that. And again, any doubts on any of the question, please put it in the comments and we'll go over your doubts as soon as we can. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next two questions. So here we have question 15. Let's just do question 15 first. So you can pause the video and give this a try, and then we'll be back with the solution. Okay, so I hope you guys have given it a try. So let's solve the question. So we are given ax plus 2. So here we have ax plus 2 times bx plus 7, that is equals so that is equal to 15 x square. So we have 15x square plus cx plus 14. So what is the objective of this question? What are the two possible values of c? And we are given a plus b equals to 8. So we are given to compare two equations. So we can compare their coefficients, right? So let's say we have, so the concept here is if you have ax square plus bx plus c equals a1x square plus b1x plus c2, here we have c1. So then we can compare the coefficients. So ax square is equal to a1x square, so that means a must be equal to a1. Similarly, bx and b1x we have on the other side, so b must be equal to b1, and same thing, the constant must be equal, so c1 must be equal to c2. So that's the concept, right? If we have similar, if we have uh, same coefficients, or if you have the same term on both sides, then the coefficients must be equal. So if you have two terms of x square, one on one side, one on the other side of the equation, and no other terms in x square, then the coefficient of x square in both the side must be equal. Okay, so we are going to use that concept here. So if we cross multiply this, so we have abx square, so x times bx plus ax times 7 is 7ax, right? So 7ax, and then 2 times bx, so plus 2bx, and then 7 times 2 plus 14. That's equal to 15x square plus cx plus 14, right? So 15 must be equal to ab. So we write ab is equals to 15, right? And 7a, so we'll compare the coefficient of x, which is 7a plus 2b must be equal to c. So 7a plus 2b must be equal to c. So here we are given AB equals 15, and we are also given A plus B equals to 8. So AB equals to 15 we found, and we have A plus B equals 8, right? So let's substitute B in terms of A. So what is B? B equals 15 over A, right? So let's substitute B. So A plus 15 over A, right? That is equal to 8, or we'll simplify again. So A square plus 15 equals, we'll cross multiply the A here, 8A. So from here we can write it as A square minus 8A plus 15, that is equal to 0, right? So now so what is the value of A here? So 15 is 5 times 3, right? So negative 5, negative 3. If we multiply, we get positive 15, and negative 5, negative 3 is negative 8. So we have A minus 3, sorry, A minus 5 times A minus 3 is equal to 0. So A can have the value of 5 and 3, right? So if A is equals to 5, how much is B? B equals to 15 over A, right? So B equals to 3, and if A equals to 3, B would be equals to 5. So we'll substitute these values and find the value of C. So if A equals to 5, 7 times 5 is 35, and 3 times 2 is 6. So 35 times 6 is 41. We can find the second value of B, but let's see whether any other option has 41, or which option has 41. A doesn't have 41, B doesn't have 41, C doesn't have 41, only D has 41. So we don't even have to calculate this. So whenever we get one value, we'll see which option has 41 and we'll just select it. If two options had 41, then of course we have to solve this and see how much C is, which it has to be 31. We can just do it for our, just for verification. So 7 times 3 is 21, plus 5 times 2 is 10, so which is 31. So definitely you'll get 31. May take 5 to 10 seconds, but just to save that time, right? We'll use the option. We'll see if there is an opportunity to save time, we'll always do that, right? But we'll always try to see the options. Whenever you get one of the options or one of the answer, and the option has two options and two answers, we'll look for whether any other option has the right answer, right? If not, we'll just select the option that has the correct answer that we found. Okay, so that was question 15. So let's move on to the next questions, and let me load that up here. So okay. So as you all know that out of the 20 questions in paper 1, there are 15 questions that have multiple choices or four choices essentially. And there are 5 questions in which you have to uh, get the answer and you have to mark the answer or write down the answers in the paper, right? So these are the 5 questions. So in these questions, you will not be getting the options. So you have to find the right answer. So that will be a value, and you cannot choose from options. So here you have to actually solve the question. So for the questions in which the options are given, you can, to save time, you can partially solve the question, and using the options, you can uh, partially use that and get the correct answer. But for these questions, for these 5 questions, you have to solve the entire question. So here, what is the value of t, right? So let's solve the question. T square minus 4 is equal to 0. So we can, so let me also put the formula up. So a square minus b square, we can write it as a plus b times a minus b. Very, very important formula, very important. So this will have multiple use in your SAT exam. So this is a direct application of this formula. So 4 can be written as 2 square, right? So you can write it t square minus 2 square equals 0. So you can write it as t minus 2 times t plus 2 is equal to 0. So t can have a value of 2 or negative 2, right? But in the question, it is given that t is greater than 0. So we cannot take the negative value. So what is the value of t? So t is equal to 2. That's the option. That's the answer that you're going to put. Okay. So that was question 16. So give question 17 a try, and then we'll come up with the solution. Okay. So I hope you guys have given it a try. So okay, I'm sorry. I think I haven't put the entire question up. So just give me 1 second while I put the entire question up here. Okay, I have to zoom out a bit, I guess. Okay, I guess now you can see the entire question. Okay, so again, you can pause the video and give the question a try, and then we'll come up with the solution. Okay, so I hope you guys have given the question a try. Uh, so let's read it together, okay? So a summer camp counselor wants to find the length x. So this is the x that they want to find uh, in feet across a lake as represented in the sketch above. Okay, the lengths represented by AB, EB, BD, and CD are determined to be 1800. So in place of AB, let's put 1800. So we have 1800. EB is 1400. EB is 1400. BD is 700. So BD is 700. And then CD is 800. So CD is 800. So we have all these lengths given, and segment AC and DE. AC and DE intersected B. Okay, that's fine. And angle AEB, which is basically this angle, and CDB, which is basically these angles, are equal. What is the value of x? So first thing that we notice is angle B is common, and one other angle of these triangles are equal. So this triangle is going to be a similar triangle, right? So if two angles of a triangle are equal, the third angle definitely would be equal, and the triangle would be similar triangle. So we'll use that property, right? So triangle ABE and triangle BDE are similar. So if the triangles are similar, ratio of the sides must be equal. So how do we find the side? So for angle B, we'll take the opposite to angle B, right? So opposite to angle B is going to be AE. So in the big triangle, opposite to angle B is AE. In the small triangle, opposite to angle B is CD, right? So AE we are required to find, CD we are given. So we have to choose another side which are given, so that there's just going to be one unknown. So let's see, opposite to E is 1800, and E is similar to angle D, but opposite to that the length is not given. So we'll take the third side. So opposite to the third side C, we have 700. Opposite to, so C would be similar to A. So opposite to A, we have 1400. So what the for the big triangle, we have opposite to A is 1400. So which is EB. So let's write it EB, and over opposite to C we have BD. So here AE is basically X, CD is 800 equals EB is basically 1400, and BD is 700. So 700 times 2 is 1400, so 800 times 2 is 1600. So X equals to 1600 feet. Okay, so again we'll look for similar triangles. We'll only take the sides which are given, so that we don't come up with another unknown, right? We don't need unknowns, we just need knowns. So in this, so whichever side we'll choose, we just if we just have one unknown, then we can easily solve it. So that's what we did. We knew that B we have to take because we need the value of x, and then the sides that we chose had known values, right? So opposite to A we had 1400, opposite to C we had 700. So that's why we chose those two sides. Okay. So I hope that is clear to you. So let's move on to the next questions. So let me put up all three questions here. So we have 18, 19, and 20. Give these three questions a try. Take a minute for each questions, and then we'll come up with the solution. Okay, so we have question 18. So let's try question 18. So we are given two equations, right? So what is the value of x? So simple solving two equation, value of x. So by the process of elimination, if we want to find the value of x, we have to eliminate y. So how we can eliminate y? So here we have equation 1 and equation 2. So in equation 1 we have y, in equation 2 we have 2y. So how do we eliminate y? We can multiply equation 1 with 2, so that both sides will get 2y, and we'll subtract both the equations, right? So let's do that. So we have equation 1 times 2 is 2x, plus 2y equals negative 18, right? That is equation 1 multiplied by 2. And then we have equation 2, which is x plus 2y equals negative 25. That's basically equation 2. And then we can subtract. So negative, negative, positive. These cancels out. So 2x minus x is x. That's equals to 25 minus 18. So what is 25 minus 18? 7. So x, the value of x is 7. And we'll move on to the next question. So let's look at the next question. In a right angle triangle, one measure of angle is x. What is, whereas sine x is 4 over 5. So what's the value of cos x? So whenever you get this type of question, my suggestion would be to draw the triangle, to draw the right angle triangle and find the ratio of the other sides. Okay. So one angle measure is x. So we'll draw the triangle here. Let's put this as x and sine x. So what is sine of x? Sine of x is opposite. So we'll take opposite over hypotenuse. So this is the hypotenuse, this is the opposite, and this is the adjacent, right? Which is with respect to x. So opposite over hypotenuse, right? So opposite, so we'll put in place of this O, let's put it as 4, and hypotenuse is 5, right? So 3. So we know that. So there are again some special triangles. Let me put it down. So right angle triangle. If we have 3 here, we have 4 here, we'll get 5 here, right? We can solve this using, x square plus 4 square equals 5 square, and then we can find that x equals to 3 um, by solving. But it's always good to remember this special triangle 3, 4, 5, and any multiple of that basically. So you can have 6, 8, 10, and so on and so forth. So any multiple of 3, 4, and 5 will also have the same ratio. Okay. So here, so your adjacent will be 3. Okay. So if this is x, this is 90. This angle is going to be 90 minus x, right? So what is asked? You are asked to find cos of 90 minus x. Okay. So cosine of 90 minus x is, so let me get a little bit of writing space. So just give me one moment while I get some writing space up here. Okay. So we have this triangle, right? So we have this triangle up here, and so cosine of x. So cosine of x is adjacent over hypotenuse. So what is adjacent to 90 minus x? That is 4. And what is the hypotenuse is 5. So basically 4 over 5, it's going to be the same, 4 over 5. But if you can draw the triangle, then it's going to take like 5-10 seconds, because if you can write x 90 minus x, and sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so we write opposite. Sorry, so this is x, so opposite is 4, hypotenuse is 5, and then you write 90 minus x, adjacent is 4, hypotenuse is 5. So it's just gonna take 10 seconds. Okay. So whenever you get questions like this, go for the triangle. And if you can remember this ratio, you don't have to do this calculation, and you can directly write. If you see 4, 5, you can write 3. If you see 3 and 4, you can write 5. If you see 6, 8, you can write 10, and so on and so forth, right? So you can write it as 9, 12, and 15. So anytime you see a multiple of 3, 4, 5, you are for sure you can write it as a right angle triangle. Okay. So let's move on to the last question for today's session, and that is the value of a is given, and you are asked to find the value of x, and the value of 2a is also given, right? So what basically we have to do is we have to put everything inside the root. So here something is outside the root, so if you put everything inside the root, then we can see what x is, right? So let's say a is given, so a equals to, so if you put 5 inside the root, we have to square 5, right? So basically under root of 2 times 5 square. So 5 square is 25. So 2 times 25. So this is equal to under root of 50. So now we are given 2a. So if I write 2a, if I put 2 inside the root, it has to be 2 square, right? So 50 times 2 square, which is 4. So this is under root of 200. So under root of 200 is given as equals to under root of 2 times x. So what is x? X is basically 100, right? So 100 times 2 is 200. So value of x is 100. So again, as you can see, just doing this um, will take even less than 30 seconds, right? So this is how we are going to approach every question, right? We are going to use the option, and we will try to reduce the number of steps as much as possible. So in terms of explanation, I'm showing a few additional steps, but there are steps that you can do mentally. So I would suggest, there is a playlist in our channel which is mental math, so you can look at that playlist and see how fast, and some faster way to mentally solve questions, and those are really really important for competitive exams such as SAT. So we will have two more parts of this SAT paper in which we are going to solve questions in which calculators are allowed, and you will have the entire paper solved. And so that's all for today's session. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, and for more such contents, please subscribe to our channel. We'll prepare more contents on SAT and other competitive exams. And if you need any other content that you might be which might be helpful for you guys, so you can put it on the comment section, and we'll try to come up with a content on that. So again, thank you so much for staying till the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in the next session. Thank you again.